And this session was actually wonderful, as we have come to know about different tribes and different cultures and different types of livestock. It was great. And at this stage, I would like to getting back to the honorable chair, Professor Dr. Dawid Bunikowski, for giving his concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me well? Okay, thank you very much, all the speakers. Thank you very much, all the presenters. Thank you very much also to Tanjina Hasnat for moderation, the moderation of this session. Thank you, the organizer, for organizing this session, Dr. Hasrat Arjuman. So, as we saw, there were many ideas in these lectures. For example, in the first lecture about transhumans as a way of life, truly sustainable, there was a question, what is pastoralism? There was also the idea that pastoralism is the only one way to maintain biodiversity, and we saw cases from India. In the second lecture given by Christina Adams, I think that also that was important to highlight traditional healing and all these nomadic and pastoral lifestyles and all these pastoralist traditions. That is very important. And also this question why pastoralist products and knowledge is outside the mainstream. This is also important for us just to consider this. And I think what she also put very interestingly on the table was the idea of nomadic and pastoralist wisdom. And generally, the idea of indigenous wisdom, the idea of tribal wisdom, the idea of nomadic wisdom, this is very important. And also this idea that we can benefit from pastoralist ways of life, but we do not realize it, in fact. And the third lecture was also interesting for me personally, because that was about Europe. So I'm speaking from Northern Europe, from Finland, and that was about Europe, but much more about nomadic lifestyle and pastoral way of life in the Mediterranean region. So that was also quite interesting for us, because many of us don't know about this too much, and this distinction between vertical and horizontal types of transhumans, it was also interesting for me. Many details concerning, for example, how many types of cheese we produce. This is so fascinating also, I would say, and also from intangible and versus tangible heritage of transhumans. This is important, and also that issue concerning law and protection, for example, of this nomadic or semi-nomadic or pastoral way of life in Spain. That was interesting. In the fourth lecture given by Professor Dr. Razik Kakar, I think that was very interesting for us, that he himself comes from a nomadic family. He's a member of a livestock rearing community. So he knows very well from experience what he's talking about. And he also put on the table some questions about climate change, but he paid a lot of attention to local people, to different livestock, to local ecosystems, and to ancient culture. And what was very interesting for me, that was this idea that livestock is not about money only. It's a part of culture, heritage. This is very important. It is a part of tradition. And that was about indigenous livestock breeds, about indigenous knowledge. And I found this very interesting, because I can compare these ways of thinking to, for example, the Sami people, who are the only one Aboriginal nation living in Europe, in Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Russia. And they also have their traditional ways of doing things, traditional knowledge, indigenous knowledge, and that was almost completely destroyed in the 19th century or up to the 19th century by very strong nation states, by very nationalistic policies, and so on. So this revival of culture, of heritage, of indigenous peoples, of tribal, nomadic, semi-nomadic groups, it's extremely important for us to bring this wisdom to the contemporary world, the world which is based on the idea of consumption mostly, and production, overproduction, and so on. So I found this very interesting, all these four papers and ideas which were expressed in these 4 lectures. Then we had much more presentations with some technical issues and problems like internet connection, but we are very sorry about that. It happens. Also very interesting, I think, ideas about the Cardiff people in India, about the Muslim Gujars in India. I have never heard about them, by the way, about Jadi tribe, about Romania and boilers, about global warming, also another important issue. I think that what is the common idea that was visible in all these papers and presentations and in all this panel or session was that we should protect indigenous, tribal, nomadic, semi-nomadic ways of life, because it's important for our ecosystems. It's important for maintaining biodiversity of the world. It's important also for us who are very secular people based on ideas on consumption and so on. It's important for us to bring this wisdom, this wisdom that is very pragmatic, but it's close to nature. And it's very important to bring this wisdom of indigenous, tribal, nomadic tribes or communities, to bring this wisdom to the contemporary world that is completely different, that is completely based on consumptionists and so on. So I think we had a very wonderful session. And again, I would like to thank everybody who spoke, all the speakers, all the presenters. I would like to thank the moderator, Ms. Tamjina Hasnat. It was not easy to moderate, only 3 hours and so many presentations. And I would like to thank, of course, Dr. Hasrat Arjument for inviting me as a legal philosopher interested in indigenous rights from Northern Europe to chair this session. That was a huge honor and privilege for me. So officially, I would like to close this session. Thank you very much for your attention and for participation. Thank you.
This was a great pleasure having such a wonderful chair, very, very senior person from Finland, and a young scientist from Bangladesh as the co-chair and moderator. So it was really very nice. And yeah, you have already extended your warm regards to all the lecturers, faculty members, and other presenters. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. And now we are meeting just after 15 minutes in the next session. And first lecture would be of mine, so I'm afraid, really. Okay, thank you. Meeting after 15 minutes. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Good luck for you.
Thank you. Thank you.